I'd like to welcome you all here to St Andrew's Church in Oldham to take part in the North's Regional Satsang, which is being hosted by Oldham Sai Centre. Raman Uncle onto the stage, I'd like to tell you a bit about him. Raman Uncle is an active worker for Warrington Sai Centre. He has two children and a wife who are also devotees. Whenever there's any seva activities, Mr. Raman Uncle is always there ready to help, offering his services. Rumour has it that he's been very nervous about coming and speaking for the first time. So I'd better put him at his ease and call him onto the stage. Welcome, Raman Uncle.
Respected elders, brothers, sisters and children, Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
A few weeks ago, whilst attending the symposium at Ormskirk, I happened to have the fortune of serving the food at the back of the hall after the program was completed. When I had finished serving the food, Bharat and my wife Neelam very cheekily approached me with broad smiles on their face and came into me and said, "How would you like to do a 10-minute speech at the Oldham Symposium to outline your experiences with Baba?" Looking at the broad grins they had on their faces, I could hardly say no. So away they went and left me in the agony of turning to Baba and saying, "Baba, you have done it now." This particular person has had only one experience with yourself, and the experience lasted 2 seconds in a darshan which was 10 minutes long. What do you expect me to tell about my experiences? The normal tendency, as far as I'm concerned, has been that whilst attending symposiums and regional programs, you all come across speakers who have been to India several times, sometimes 2 to 3 times a year. They have had regular Baba darshans, they have had interviews with Baba. And there I am, I've had one experience with Baba, and I undertook the great task of talking for 10 to 15 minutes about experiences with Baba. So I looked at Baba and said, Baba, what am I going to do? So Baba turned back and told me, well, you don't have to have seen me for 10 years to talk about me. My birth, my avatar is such that people do not have to come to me for years and years to learn about me. People who are next to me cannot understand who I am or what I am, and I can be next to you, therefore, and you cannot realize who I am, and yet you can be thousands of miles away from me, and I am with you. So based on this confidence, I thought, well, I should be able to talk for 10 minutes. So here I am, talking to you about my very limited experiences with Baba. Now, to talk to you about my experience with Baba, I have to take you back to the point where you must have all been in a position where you probably had never met Baba or read about Baba, and you were presumably all wondering, what is Baba all about? Now, my life story is that I was born in what we call an Arya Samajic Hindu family, and this family wasn't particularly very religious, but we did the Havan every day. So I was one of those people who could narrate the whole Havan without understanding a word of what I was doing. So whilst I was very satisfied with myself that I knew all about mantras and I was the greatest person alive because I knew these holy mantras, nothing sort of ever really made any sense to me. My yearning for God grew all the time, and I wanted to find out more, but there's no way I could do it because I had nowhere to go. And worse still, we left Kenya, my home country, in 1965, and we came over to UK. Now, I was now in an environment where it wasn't even possible to do Havan, because to light a fire in your home or in a hall meant you would be breaking all the local government regulations which related to fire in buildings. So I had lost sort of the little contact I had with God then. But the only way I continued my life was offering my prayer to God, which lasted 30 seconds, morning and evening. And in the meantime, I started reading books about Krishna, about Gita, about Christ, about Buddha, and started building on my knowledge and came to the conclusion that all religions are one. What is the difference between people talking about my God is better than your God? These books, they just seem to be giving me the message that there is only one God. So why is the world always on about my God is better than yours, my religion is better than yours? So while this was all going on in my mind, I happened to meet an elderly person in London who I'll refer to as Guruji. I happened to start sort of talking to him about religion, and he started giving me a lot of explanations about God, godly love, scriptures, and the mantras. So what was happening then was I was getting to a stage where I started asking more and more questions, and I used to drive to London from Cambridge every weekend and used to spend hours with Guruji asking him questions about God and God-related matters. This went on for about 3 to 6 months until one day he got tired of me and said, "Sonny Jim, are you going to ask me questions about God all the time, or are you going to do anything about it?" So I thought, well, I'd love to do something about it, but I still have a lot of doubts about God in my mind. To me, it does not make sense. A lot of things you have said make sense, but then I find you making opposing statements when you talk about God. So, what can I do? I do want to find God. I do want to be religious, but I cannot be religious unless I understand what God is all about. So he said, look, stop looking around for God. God is not here, God is not there, God is not in Krishna, God is not in Christ. They are not separate, they are all one. There is only one God. You can visualize him in any way you want, in any form you like, and that will be your God. Now it all started making a lot of sense to me then, that I didn't have to sit in front of 50 to 70 idols and try and figure out which of them is God. So I got into the religious part and I started doing prayers and japam and bhajan, and somehow the yearning was still there that, somehow I'm not getting there, because I still sort of could see a lot of gods and not sort of picture God as being the Holy Spirit, as one Holy Spirit. So fortunately for me, we started attending bhajans at my sister-in-law's place, who sort of started doing something completely different to what I had ever experienced. We went to this bhajan and they were singing very sort of fast and very slow bhajans. They were very short bhajans as well. And after attending the first bhajan, I started asking myself the question, here I am with a group of people who are thinking about Krishna, they're thinking about Christ, they're thinking about Guru Nanak, they're singing high and low. What is this? Why is everything sort of combined into one? Is this a group of crazy people, a new cult that has sort of suddenly developed its own religion? So I started making more inquiries about it. And then for the first time in my life, I came across Baba. And I was very, very curious about why Baba was taking the approach he was in trying to get all the religions together and trying to get all the people together. What was his motivation? So I bought 2 books and I started reading these books. And these books started making a lot of sense to me, in that there is only one religion, there is only one God, and really it is man who has split these religions into his own sort of ways and means, so that he can get a convenient thought or sympathy as he wants to sort of see religion. So I became more and more interested in Baba, and about 5 years after attending these bhajans, I had the opportunity to go to Japan on a technical visit from my work. And on my way from Japan, I had the opportunity to stop in India. And I had only 24 hours, and I managed to take a taxi to Shirdi and visit Shirdi Baba's place. And I had some dramatic experiences in Baba's place, and I could not believe that these things were happening to me. I saw the form of Shiva in Baba, and I stood there wondering, is this me or my imagination? And I came back and I started getting more and more sort of excited about the whole thing, and I went to Shirdi a second time. And then last time, around last year, I had the opportunity to go to Satya Sai Baba. Now that in itself was quite an experience, in that I wasn't sure till the last minute whether Baba was going to be in Kudi Canal or whether he was going to be in Vrindavan. And Raman, me being what I am, decided to go there and take a chance anyway. So when I got to Bangalore, I was told that Baba was in Vrindavan, in Kudi Canal, and having taken an overnight taxi to Puri Canal, I had the opportunity of meeting Baba for the first time in my life. And the encounter lasted only 10 minutes because I got there at 8 o'clock and Baba was coming out at 8:30. When Baba came out, there was a fantastic smell of jasmine flowers. And when Baba approached me, he was in front of me just for 2 seconds, and in that time I managed to touch his lotus feet. And during that time I had such a fantastic feeling in me that something had overcome me. And ever since I came back from India, my yearning to go and see Baba has increased more and more. So the way I see Baba is, with Baba you have to experience Baba. You don't have to see him. As Baba says, you can be thousands of miles away from me, but I am with you, around you. Come and experience me if you want to. I'm afraid my time is over. I could have talked for another half an hour, but I do respect time. Sai-ram.
Who said that Uncle was shy? I think he's just made a new friend with the microphone. All right, we now have the pleasure of having a dance performed by Oldham Balbika. We have our second speaker now. She's a lady called Valerie Sim. She's one of our newer devotees, and she's been following Baba for about 1 year now. She's here with us today to tell us a bit about her experiences during that time.
This is the first speech I've given in my life, apart from 1 month ago. And I went with a wonderful lady who is the leader of a healing group that I've recently joined. And she took me to a meeting, not a Baba meeting, just a healing meeting. And as we were sitting there was a group of about 20 people. She suddenly turned to me and said, "You're our guest speaker." And I said, "Me? What am I going to speak about?" And she said, "You speak about Sai Baba." So without any preparation, I didn't even know that I'd got to speak. And I started to panic. The little me started to panic, but I haven't got any notes, and what am I going to say? And then suddenly I just closed my eyes and said, "Your will, Swami, you speak through me." And so that's what's happened today. Val rang me, left a message on my answer phone in the week, and I thought that was a preparation. Swami had prepared me then to come and speak to you now. Where do I begin? I've known God for most of my life, but in a sort of a background way. I've been very busy bringing up my 2 children and getting my home together and having a job. And although God has always been in my life, He's not been in a very conscious way. Until about 3 years ago, when I started on what I call my conscious spiritual path. And I went to a place called Findhorn in Scotland, which is a spiritual community. It's where people are living the way that God wants them to live. And while I was there, before I went there, I read a book by a lady you've probably heard of, Phyllis Crystal. I know the books are out here, called Cutting the Ties That Bind. And when I read this book, I thought, this is a wonderful one. She's a very, I felt that she was a loving person, and also she was a very intellectual person. And I noticed at the front of the book that she dedicated it to this strange sounding name, to Sri Satya Sai Baba. And I thought, how strange that such an intelligent woman should have a guru. Because I had the idea, the Western, I think a common Western idea, that gurus were something that, not very good. That they were, I had an idea of a man called Jones who persuaded all his people to commit suicide. And I thought, I don't need that. I don't need a guru. I can make my own decisions. I'm an intelligent woman and I will work out things for myself. I won't just blindly follow somebody. So I was very surprised that Phyllis Crystal had dedicated this book to, that she actually had a guru. Then I went to Findhorn and I chose some books, spiritual books about God and various other books. And when I got home, I had 22 books that I bought, and I didn't really know what their titles were. And I put them on my bookshelves, and then I noticed a strange one that didn't seem to fit with the others, and it had this, I think there was a picture on the front. And I thought, that's that strange guru that Phyllis Crystal had. And it was a book called Transformation of the Heart. And that's exactly what happened to me. My heart opened. I cried. I couldn't read the book in one piece. I had to read one chapter, and the tears came, and I cried and cried. And I had to put the book down until I was ready to read another part. And it's my life. I realized that I was born to serve him. And I now ask him to be in my life and to guide me and to speak through me and to tell me where to go and what to do. And he makes me laugh. He plays tricks on me by putting me with people who I'm going to have some hard lessons to learn from. I was in my bedroom one day after I'd read the book, and I smelled a very strong perfume, and I didn't know this perfume. I thought maybe one of my friends had been in with a new perfume, but no, that didn't seem right. And then I was in the garden and I smelled the same smell again, but it wasn't any of the flowers that were growing in my garden. And then somebody, a devotee, told me that if Baba wants you to see him or to know him, he lets you smell jasmine. And I realized then that that was the smell. It was a jasmine smell. Then I was sitting at my office desk, and I had opened an envelope with my morning post, and there was an invitation to go to a Sai meeting in the Isle of Wight. Well, I rang the lady, and I said, "How do you know me? I don't know you. How have you got my name?" And she said, "I don't know, but obviously Swami wants you to be here." That was a wonderful day. I then had a dream where I was in India, and Swami was dressed in white. He wasn't wearing the orange that I've seen pictures. He was all in white, and he was just walking around. And then somebody afterwards said to me, "You will go to see him." So I started to pray, "Please, Swami, if you want me to come and see you, will you give me a sign? Will you give me a definite sign? And then I'll get some money, and I'll book a ticket, and I'll do whatever, but let me know." And nothing happened for a while. And then I was on a course with a wonderful person, Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, in Scotland. And I was sitting at the dining table, and a woman came over to me and she said, "I have a message for you. Does this make sense?" And I said, "Well, what's the message?" And she said, "Have you heard of Sai Baba?" Well, the poor woman was so shocked because I just burst into tears. I was just crying, I couldn't speak to him, because I knew then that was my sign that he wanted me to go. So I then started to try and get to India, and I tried to join the group that was leaving, and I was a nuisance, and I kept ringing up the London number and saying, "But I must go. Swami's called me, I must go." But I couldn't go. I even tried to go on my own. That wasn't right, because that wasn't the right time. But now I'm to go at the end of October. And I realized that all my life I've had a love for India and Indian things. I love the food, the clothes, the people. And I realize now why. Because Swami is in me and in you all. And I'm just so thankful that I know him. Thank you.
Before the program started, and she really is a delightful lady, and I hope she really enjoys her trip to India in October.
Wellington's Barbercast presents The Greatness of Work. A long time ago, in a forest near Karmapuri, lived a pious Brahmin. When his daughter came of age, he approached the king for his help. "O king, I have to perform my daughter's marriage. Be kind enough to help me."
"Go to the treasury and fetch me 1,000 sovereigns.
Excuse me, O king, that amount will not be sufficient for the marriage.
Wait, bring me 10,000 for our guest."
"O king, that too is not enough." Somehow, the king was unable to be angered by the Brahmin's demands, and he wanted to satisfy him at all costs.
"Take 20,000.
Looking at the Brahmin's expression, the king knew he was still not satisfied.
"Call the treasurer immediately."
I'm already here, sir.
The hush court wondered what the king had told the treasurer, when suddenly, "Oh, the king has ordered to give me half his treasure."
Amazing! How did the Brahmin come to know such order?
The court was surprised, yet the Brahmin was unmoved.
"Open the whole treasury to our guest. Let his daughter's marriage be done on a grand scale."
"O king, I appreciate your generosity, but pardon me if I say that even this is not sufficient."
"Then, if you so desire, I can offer you half of my kingdom."
Will this too be insufficient?
"O king, do you know why I am still unsatisfied? All your generous offers are merely your own inheritance. If you can give me even a small amount earned with your own hands, that will be more than enough."
"Oh, you want money that I've earned myself? Then please come again tomorrow, and I shall work and earn meanwhile."
Namaste.
Namaste.
That night, the king went in disguise into a town to search for a job. A blacksmith was busy in a shop.
Sir, can you please offer me a job?
Yes, you've come at the right time. I could do with some help. The whole night, they both worked very hard. At last, we've finished. Here, I only have these 2 copper coins as wages. The king took them gratefully and left for the palace. The Brahmin appeared early next morning. Namaste.
Namaste. Please accept these 2 copper coins which I have earned by hard and honest work.
Thank you, King. This is more than enough. The king and the court watched the Brahmin leaving with great satisfaction.
This Brahmin must be a madman. He takes 2 copper coins instead of half his vast kingdom.
On the return to his hut in the forest, the Brahmin was met by his anxious wife, Meena.
See what I have received from the king. 2 coppers. What a fool you are! Refusing half the kingdom, you brought in 2 worthless copper coins. Oh, what use would these be?
The next morning, the Brahmin and his wife noticed 2 trees in the exact place where the money had been thrown.
What amazement! The tree is full of pearls and gems.
This will be 100 times more valuable than the king's treasure. So the Brahmin performed his daughter's wedding in a lavish fashion. Even the king attended the marriage with his courtiers.
Make way for the king.
Namaste.
Namaste. O king, I am now a millionaire. You may take from me as much wealth as you require for your treasury. Money earned by hard and honest labour may be small, but see how great are its fruits.
Oh Brahmin, now I realize the meaning of work.
Sainam, revered elders, brothers and sisters, children. It's an opportunity to share my experiences. I don't know whether Bharat has put me up here to share, to share the miracles that will happen. But that wasn't my idea really. I want to speak to you regarding my own experiences rather than anything else. At the age of 18, a flamboyant boy coming from India to get married to Britain, I was taken on a pilgrimage by my parents, and you wouldn't believe it, I ran. Half the pilgrimage was done, and parents said, oh, we're going somewhere else. I straight away ran and came back home, and I said, well, you can go. I don't want to carry on with the pilgrimage. because I don't believe in all these idols. And that was my problem really. Just like Mr. Puri said, that's the biggest problem we all have, not understanding what we're doing, even with idols, even with our own devotion. Biggest problem I ever had, run away from parents on the pilgrimage. There, at the age of 19, I travelled to Britain. In 1981, my wife challenged me that, there you are, you have attained an honours degree in this country, you have educated yourself in this country, but what do you know about God? I said, you must experience. We were doing a little bit of sadhana at that time, but she particularly said, you should go and experience it yourself and sit with Sai Baba, see what he is. And that was a challenge. She said, that was in 1981. So I travelled myself in 81, knowing nothing about Baba, just sat there, 6 weeks, holidays I took. You wouldn't believe it. For a whole 6 weeks I sat there, never moved. Whatever I wanted to experience, I experienced everything during that first visit. I never shifted from there. She said, you never phoned me. You never contacted anybody else. I said, I was in heaven. I forgot everybody, including my family. I never wrote a letter, never told anybody I was in India, just came straight back again. And that was my first visit, sitting at Swami's feet for a whole 6 weeks. That was a starting point. First visit. Second visit, I think we went with a group, but with Bharat 60 of us really. During that visit, we had few experiences. We had especially one devotee who used to come to our center, Bill Booth. Some of you may know him. He always used to say, when he used to sit in satsang, I said, this is my home. Whenever I come here, I feel at ease and this is my home. When we went to Puttaparthi, I was told not to take him. My wife was really worried about taking him because he was disabled. And I said, no, I must take him. And we took him. Believe me, when Swami gave us the interview, he missed he told half the group, oh, Manchester's group got to go and do some seva. Not Manchester, I think it was UK group then, because we took people from all over UK. And half of us went to do seva, and the other half, at the same time, Swami made arrangements for them to have the interview, you see. Because Swami's interview room is so small that he wouldn't have fitted all of us. He knew exactly how many we were. So Swami told, to volunteers there and said, tell the, Manchester UK group to go and do some seva. And at that time, it was Dr. Gokak's birthday, 75th birthday, and Swami was celebrating the 75th birthday. And we had the opportunity of seeing Swami there, speaking to Dr. Gokak and his achievements there. But apart from that, we missed the whole interview. We ran there for the interview. By that time, all the ladies and those who were a little bit of sick people, they went in the interview room and we were left out. Bill Booth was a prime example from our center anyway. Swami took a chair for him in the interview room, and he said, he himself took the chair and said to him, sit down. He sat down and he was told himself that, look, he said, you're very old, you're an old man, but your heart is very young. And Bill Booth always used to say, when he used to come to the center, he always used to say to me, look, I'm an old man, but I said, I'm very, very young at my heart. And Swami exactly said those words in the interview room. So you can see how Swami is all-knowing. Apart from that, if I can go from that trip to the last one really, if I can narrate the incidences about our visit in between. I left my job after 16 years working at one place, and I thought it is time to go to Swami and stay there for about a year. So made my arrangements to go there for a year. After having stayed there for 4 months, I made arrangements for my family to come there. I never knew what was happening here. Obviously, there were problems Swami has created, not Swami has created, obviously. When I asked Swami in Vrindavan, Swami, can I have an interview? And Swami says, later, later. And I was wondering why Swami was saying later. And obviously I knew the family was coming, but not in Vrindavan, they were all coming in Puttaparthi. When I went to receive my wife, I knew all the problems. She had cancer, and she had this and she had that. We had the interview after a few days, and exactly in the interview room, what did Swami say? He says, I know everything. He says, all these operations you have to do, he said, I will give you something, they will disappear. And believe me, they have all disappeared now. And it's been confirmed by GP when they're here in this country. GP was so adamant before she went off, on her trip to Swami. Said, you must get this operation done within 7 days, otherwise you could be in great trouble. Although on Dr. Virva's instruction, she carried on. He said, if you believe in Swami, don't believe in doctors in that respect. I said, Swami is the greatest doctor. And here we are. She carried on her trip. And when we were in the interview room, Swami asked. When I asked Swami, what about these operations, Swami never replied. He says, Swami always responds to you personally. When my wife asked, she was answered, She got the answers from Swami, not from Swami did not answer me at all. In the interview room, we had people from Nepal, 2 soldiers, and they were right at the back. And Swami asked them, he says, do you have a watch? And the soldiers didn't have a watch. And instantly, we were sitting right at the Swami's feet, and Swami instantly produced the watch by the wave of the hand. And then Swami started turning turning the dial himself. And then he said to everyone, exactly 1 minute past 5. I think he did say 1 minute past 5 if I'm not wrong. And he said, time is most important. Don't waste time. Use time. Put your time to good use. And then Swami started doing a discourse on time. So this is how Swami is. Swami produces something for someone, then he gives you a lesson through his materialization. And then obviously Swami gave him the watch. But that Swami said, and the Swami exactly knew the time and gave him the watch. During that interview, I think we had other experiences. With us, there were 2 people from London, Keith and Prema. Keith and Prema had the private interview. And in the private interview, Swami told, Prema asked Swami, incidentally I asked her afterwards, I said, what did Swami say in your private interview? And he said, if it's very private, don't tell us. But she said, no, I asked Swami for special blessings. And Swami turned around and told her that, look, I already gave you the special blessings. And the special blessings were, Swami materialized the vibhuti on ladies' side. All the ladies had the vibhuti. We all went in the interview room. All the ladies had their vibhuti. Swami materialized and they had all part namaskars. Only the men were left out altogether. And when Prema said that you had the special blessings, and I was wondering when she said that only ladies had that special blessing, all the men were left out. And there I was crying really inside within myself that, look, why Swami only ladies? What have we done wrong? And I really cried myself in the ground, sitting there. And believe me, on the 3rd day or 4th day, Swami came straight to me, and Swami materialized the vibhuti in the ground and gave it to me. So that shows that even when you pray to Swami in the ground with really intense devotion, Swami does respond to your request. I'm sorry to say, but Bharat has devised a pandemic there, telling me that I should get off the stage. Being a BT engineer is very good at things like that. And so I was surprised. I was told prior to coming on the stage, look, there are 2 lights there. One is yellow and one is red. They said, if you don't get off the stage when the red is on, they said, we'll take you off. So coming on to my last visit in February this year, we had problem. Well, the visit was organized spontaneously really. I didn't know whether I should go or not. In the end, in the last week, I told devotees, look, I'm going now. That's it. So I went there. I had few problems. Problems started from Bombay, and I prayed to Swami, look, if I take this person with me, I'm going to have trouble. So Swami gracefully got rid of him, and then I went alone myself. But the experiences, the real experiences, what I had on my last visit. Like Mr. Puri said, for 3 days I had jasmine smell in the ground. And it's a gust of wind, the fragrance coming right through. And I was wondering whether is it only me or is it my imagination about Swami really. And I asked my roommate, I said, did you have the same type of fragrance? Did you smell the same fragrance? And he said, yes. And it continuously stayed there for 3 days, 3 darshans. I felt that. Only 2 minutes more. My main experience on the last visit was every time we prayed to Swami, Asato ma sadgame, Tamaso ma jyotirgame, Mrityu ma amrutargame. And there I was meditating, and I said to Swami, I've been coming here so many years now to see you. And I said, must proceed further on the spiritual path. And I said to Swami, Tamaso ma jyotirgame. Kept meditating and minding Swami within, that look, I must see that light. I must see that light. Tamasoma Jyotirgam. From all this darkness, take me to this light. Kept meditating, no response. And then suddenly I reminded myself, look, I haven't been writing the thoughts of day, which I do on every visit to Prashanti Nilayam. There I go on the 3rd day, looking at it. Again remembering Asatoma Sadgame Tamsoma Jyotirgame. Lead me from this darkness to this light. So there, the message was there, actually written exactly the same way. Tamso ma jyotirgamaya. If you want to, what you call, get rid of this darkness and feel the light, it is only the ego that keeps you away from that light. So it is the ego we have to get rid of, all of us. Jai Sai Ram, I just leave it that because that light is too long. Sai Ram, Bharat Bhai has given the task of translating into Gujarati again to me. ગુજરાતીમાં કહેવાનું કહ્યું છે 18 વર્ષ હું જ્યારે ઇન્ડિયામાં હતો, 18 વર્ષની ઉંમરે, તો મને મારા મા બાપ મને, આપણે તમે જાણો છો ગુજરાતમાં અંબાજી અને ડાકોરની જાત્રાએ લઈ ગયા હતા. તો મેં અંબાજીની જાત્રા કરી ને અડધેથી ભાગી આવ્યો હું કે હું આ બધી વસ્તુઓમાં માનતો નથી, આ મૂર્તિઓમાં નથી માનતો. અડધેથી ભાગી આવ્યો. એ લોકો બધા ડાકોર ગયા, હું ભાગીને આવ્યો કામ. એટલે કહેવાનો અર્થ શું હતો કે ત્યારથી જ મને એ રીતનું હતું કે આ મૂર્તિઓમાં શું છે, કાંઈ જ નથી. એટલે હું ત્યારથી ભાગી આવ્યો હતો. ત્યારબાદ અહીંયા 19 વર્ષ પછી, 19 વર્ષની ઉંમરે અહીંયા આવ્યો. ત્યાર પછી અહીંયા મેં ઓનર્સ ડિગ્રી લીધી, બધું અહીંયા E-levels કર્યા, બધું કર્યું. પણ ખરો પ્રોબ્લેમ એ હતો કે વાઈફ કે મારા જે પત્ની હતા એમણે મને એમ કહ્યું કે તમે ભક્તિ, તમે બધું જાણો છો પણ તમે ખરી વસ્તુ તો જાણતા જ નથી સાંઈ બાબા વિશે. તો તમારે આટલું બધું તમે ભણ્યા છો તો જરૂર તમારે સાંઈ બાબાના દર્શન કરવા જવું જોઈએ. તો તમે કેમ ના જાઓ? ત્યાં તમારે હોલિડે લઈને ત્યાં જાઓ. તો હું હોલિડે ત્યાં અમે 6 વીક બાબા સાથે ગાયડા. ત્યારથી મને એમ જ થયું કે જે બાબા પાસેથી કોઈ જગ્યાએ નથી. અને ત્યાંથી તે 6 વીક સુધી મેં કોઈને પણ યાદ નહોતા કર્યા. હું બધાને ભૂલી ગયો હતો અને સાચી વસ્તુ હું ભૂલી જ ગયો હતો ત્યાં. તો હું આવ્યો ત્યારે પાછા મને કહેવામાં આવ્યું કે તમે 6 વીક સુધી કર્યું શું? તો મેં કીધું હું તો ત્યાં બેઠો હતો ભગવાનની પાસે, મને તો ખબર જ નથી કે દુનિયા છે. એટલે આ પહેલો મારો એક્સપિરિયન્સ હતો. ત્યાર પછી અમે ગ્રુપમાં ગયા હતા. જ્યારે ગ્રુપમાં ગયા ત્યારે બાબાએ અડધા માણસોને કાઢી મૂક્યા, કેમ કે મોટું ગ્રુપ હતું. અડધા માણસોને કહ્યું કે તમે સેવા કરવા જાઓ, અને અડધાને અમે સેવા કરવા ગયા ત્યાં અડધું ગ્રુપને પછી બાબાએ ઇન્ટરવ્યૂ આપ્યું. એટલે બાબા જાણતા જ હોય છે કે ગ્રુપમાં કેટલા નંબર હોય છે ને ઇન્ટરવ્યૂ રૂમ નાનો છે. એટલે 60 જણ ઇન્ટરવ્યૂ આપી નહીં શકતે સ્વામી. એટલે એ this light is bothering me. આ ભરતભાઈ લાઈટ તો ત્યાર પછી ઇન્ટરવ્યુ રૂમમાં સ્વામીએ શું શું કહ્યું તે કહું છું તમને. સ્વામી અમારે અહીંયા એક મોટો માણસ આવતો હતો, લગભગ 70-80 વર્ષના છે, અને ડિસેબલ હતા. જે કાયમ મને કહેતા કે હું ઓલ્ડ માણસ છું, પણ મારું હૃદય બહુ યંગ છે, મારું હૃદય બહુ કે બાળકના જેવું જુવાન છે. તે જ વસ્તુ બાબાએ જ્યારે ઇન્ટરવ્યુમાં ગયા ત્યારે બાબાએ એને હાથ હલાવીને એને હાર આપ્યો, અને ત્યાર પછી એને કહ્યું કે તને ખબર છે કે તું બહુ ઘડતો માણસ છે, પણ તારું હૃદય એટલું જુવાન છે. તો એને મને આવીને શું કહ્યું ખબર છે કે તરત આવ્યો કે મેં ભગવાનના દર્શન કર્યા, પણ હું જે તારી ઘરે કરતો હતો તે જ મને બાબાએ ઇન્ટરવ્યુ રૂમમાં કહ્યું કે હું ભલે હું ઘરડો છું પણ મારું શરીર બહુ જુવાન છે. અને કાંઈ મને કહેતો એવરી ડે, જ્યારે એવરી વીકે જ્યારે આવતા ત્યારે શંકરભાઈ મને કહેતો છે. એ પહેલો છે. બીજું ઇન્ટરવ્યુમાં ઘણી વસ્તુઓ કહી છે. મારી વાઈફને જે 2 ઓપરેશન મોટા કરવાના હતા, એક કેન્સરનું હતું અને બીજું હતું, તે સ્વામીએ કહ્યું કે ઓપરેશન કરવાની કંઈ જરૂર નથી, બંને હું સારું કરી દઈશ. તો સ્વામીએ કહે કે વિભૂતિ હું હાથ હલાવીને તમને કંઈક આપીશ. આ સુધી કંઈ નથી આપ્યું, પણ બંને રોગો તદ્દન નીકળી ગયા છે. એ ભગવાનની મહેરબાનીથી. અને અહીંયાના ડૉક્ટરે પોતે તપાસી લીધું તો કે બધું સારું થઈ ગયું છે. જય સાંઈ રામ.
I think both uncles making a lot of enemies with these lines.
Small village. Gopal's father had died and he had no brothers or sisters. Gopal and his mother lived in a tiny hut. Gopal was only 5 years old, but he used to tell his mother all the great and wonderful things he would do when he was grown up. But this was just a desire. Gopal's mother was very poor. She had to earn her living by spinning cotton into yarn, which was sold for very little money. Every night when Gopal was going to sleep, his mother would pray to Lord Krishna.
Oh Lord Krishna, please take care of my dear son Gopal and make him into a good and strong man.
This was her loving prayer every night, and then one day she asked,
Would you like to go to school, Gopal? Of course I shall learn to read and write. Let me go, Ma. Let me go tomorrow. I am sorry, Gopal, but I haven't enough money to buy you anything. I have to buy you a new book, a pencil, and a new juggle. Look, here is one paper. Write in a piece of cloth and go and put it in.
So Gopal's mother worked harder than ever.
Oh Lord Krishna, please take care of Gopal on his first day at school.
Now, the school to which Gopal had to go to was in the next village, and to get there Gopal had to pass through the forest. It was a dark and cold forest, and Gopal began to feel frightened.
Help, Ma, help! I am scared and cold. Help!
He raced through the forest head standing, and then, when he reached school, he touched the teacher's feet and joined the class.
Listen, children, there is a new boy joining our class today. Go and have your tea. That will be all right.
The next morning, Gopal began to, and then a boy appeared.
Are you my older brother?
Yes, where are you going?
To school, I felt frightened. Ma told me to call you.
Yes, Gopal. Call me whenever you're scared.
As they approached the school,
Will you take me home after school?
Yes, of course I will.
Tomorrow we are having a feast, so ask your parents off, but I haven't enough money for you to buy anything. It's all right. I don't want anything.
the next day after, he had called Krishna. He told him about the feast.
Krishna, we are going to have a feast. Ma hasn't enough money to buy anything. What should I take?
Wait a minute, Gopal. I'll be back in a bit.
After about 5 minutes, Krishna returned with a bowl of curds in his hand.
Here, Gopal. Take this to school.
Gopal was delighted, and when he gave the bowl to the teacher immediately started to give it out. But every time she gave some out, the bowl would never empty. She was quite shocked.